I just drove in.
Oh, was this your seat?
Okay, let's proceed with the agenda review.
So the Golden Age Center, pay change. This is mid-year. We did say that we were gonna try not to do mid-year changes. One thing is though, there's been a lot of turnover, they've been understaffed, the budget room is there. Is that your understanding, Nate?
Yes.
So it's not like we're gonna increase the budget in order to accommodate it, and the reality is, we're not able to retain people at the current rate, so this is an exception, but I don't think we should consider that opening up the door to mid-year changes typically. But I think the current circumstances become really rough there.
Yeah, I just want to point out the change that we're moving to it, it's almost gonna be at a rate that we're gonna be forced to actually have beginning of the year.
Right.
It would be minimum wage, actually, so
Right.
we're going there anyway. So if we
6
can
months
hang
isn't
on to
gonna
somebody
happen. Right.
and get somebody decent, you know,
Yeah,
to,
well, minimum wage puts it not as high as that. That'd be the only question I would have is, should we go to minimum wage? I don't know if that's an option, which is 1040, which is what the change was last year, instead of 1085.
well, this puts it up, with the way the schedule is, it puts them on. at
Schedule
the-
is-
The other way, it puts them under it. So I would stick with this.
And those are people that have been in the position. These are all, that change is just related to people that have already in the position, is that correct?
Well, and
It's
also,
not for the new, anyone that we're hiring new right now today.
well, it is.
No, there is. That's, I'm gonna put a
They're
motion
looking
on
for
it.
somebody now, and what they want is the ability, that's what that second sheet is.
So we're gonna raise his pay, and then we're gonna say that this position is now set at this much. So we can hopefully attract a little bit better talent.
The only concern I have there is, I think we're looking at 1040 next year for entry level.
Well, they want the ability if, here it is. I'm looking at the sheet, the motion, is in order to change the rate of pay for part-time employees of the Golden Age Center from Recreation Center part-time A to Recreation part-time, step E, which was 1085. That's basically if they can find a town that they would have the option to offer that person more if they're doing part-time. If
I would
they can't find the
say-
talent, then
For the existing people, I think I'm okay with that. I think one-off, we may have to talk about it if we're gonna apply it to the next person hired, since it wouldn't be within the normal.
but I think that the thing is that what they're finding is they're having a hard time even finding people that will apply.
I'm not saying no to a new hire, okay, so even for applying.
Yes,
It's a very small amount of money that makes a difference to the people who are working there. It will help them retain staff and help them acquire staff. We can't get people to work at that rate. It's so the market is telling us that this amount doesn't allow us to staff the kitchen.
and they'll stay long enough, and when they find another job,
You can make more
Burger
almost
King,
anywhere
and
on
off
there.
they go.
Yes, right.
Because they're starting at $11.
Okay. Park Place, is that upstairs too?
It's upstairs.
Oh, it is upstairs, okay. So what are we thinking right now with Park Place? I mean, it's not a wide piece of land. It's a pretty small little stretch of land. There's sitting water there. It's not a creek bed, it's not a wetland, but it's wet. lots of mosquitoes and potholes and everything else.
Well, and it's too bad that it wasn't done in a better fashion, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I
But
don't know
it
if we
is-
expected it to be clear cut. Did we expect that?
No.
Nobody here in this
None of
room
us did.
knew it was gonna happen.
And the thing is, if you really look at the property, it's been encroached upon a lot, so it's wider than you think. All this, like 15 feet out, is still ours, and
Right.
this is ours too. So it's about 40 foot, and then what, 120 some feet back?
Oh,
It's
nice.
a lot.
I mean, we broke it, I think we gotta
And it
fix it.
should have gone to Conservation and Parks, because it is a park. And that's, and I brought some pictures of a pocket park. This one's in Fairview Park off of Bush Road.
Before we go to that,
Yeah.
the thing is, there's a lot of different options to fix it. You're right, I agree, we have to fix it. I think it's sad that it was broken. I think it shouldn't have happened. I think all three of us agree with that. So if we're gonna expend additional funds to fix it, we need to do it in a way that makes sense for everybody, not just one guy who complained. So we have to refer it to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, the Conservation Advisory Board.
for
At
a
least
plan.
nearly 20 trees were removed. And, you know, part of me thinks we just fence it off and let it regrow. But we have to refer it for a plan, and Bev's working on different options to hopefully turn something that's a little bit of a problem into an opportunity.
To an opportunity. And, I've talked with, Parks, I've talked with Conservation, and they come up with some really good ideas. I would like to also work with, the one neighbor who thought that tree stand was gonna be there, and then he was so upset that it was all ripped out. And in his email, he said that, he was attracted to the brush on the lot because it created a wonderful natural barrier. Now the bush is gone, I need to know if the town will work with me and allow trees to be planted. And the Conservation Board is more than willing to work with him to, which trees would make sense, they would take up some of the water. The idea,
We just hate to have that sit for very long.
well, yeah, but we have to have a
Fixed.
plan to fix it. And the thing is I like the idea of a pocket park, and it's just a little passive park with two swings and a slide for toddlers, and it has one picnic table. And in the back, you can, because this piece of property has 4 acres behind it, in the future, we could actually put a trail going through there that goes to the other access on the other side, which is another neighborhood.
I wonder how much the residents will like that.
Yeah, well, that's something to explore for
So
the
that's what we gotta
future.
look into. I mean,
But for
'cause
here,
I wouldn't be thrilled.
but for
maybe
here-
not, right.
well, this gal, like the one neighbor that's really upset about this, they have 2 young children, a little pocket park with a swing, a little bit of whatever, I mean, I went there, nobody was there. But then the whole neighborhood could use it, it justifies,
What
Tax dollars,
I'm
money.
against is turning it into the extension of someone's lawn. And it seems like that was the intent.
So, I
So what
mean-
I'm gonna do, I think I'm
That's
gonna
what
make,
we've done in a number of other places.
well, I
Yeah.
think it's
But
the
in a
wrong
lot
thing
of
to do,
places
especially
we
when the
have
neighbors
it.
wanted the trees there.
yeah, and it's, I have some pictures of
I
other
know what I would have wanted, I would have liked it,
state right where it
Natural.
was.
right?
It's
that's what
it's
they-
a lot of money to do something without further
I know
input.
it's a
And on the
disaster.
other side of this, where the exits are, that's exactly what they did. They left the tree stands, they kind of groomed it back a little bit, and it's really pretty and it's a beautiful buffer. In this point, you know, the thing is to bring in 25 loads of soil just to make a lawn out of it and spend that kind of money. I would rather see that we let the parks and conservation, what they talked about putting trees along each side with,
It sounds like it's even more expensive.
well, less expensive than, if we're gonna spend the money, at least you want something that the whole neighborhood can use and that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And also, then one of the neighbors
put
says,
this back in.
I'll plant the trees back.
And some of them,
And
this
he's-
fellow over here
Well,
says,
also, they have a pool for, some of the fill could go in there too.
well, I don't know if you'd wanna use the fill because of the soil differences
Yeah, it
deep
might not
down
be
and
top.
what would
Might be
grow.
clay.
You have, like this stuff, we could let this come back naturally and plant
So-
trees and bushes on the sides to make it look aesthetically attractive. And that way we wouldn't have to use 25 loads of soil, because we'd let this come back in naturally.
I don't mind,
But
I don't mind spending money on it, Bev. I just think we gotta do it with a plan. And it sounds like you're working on some
Yes.
plan ideas. I think we
I
refer
think
to,
that we can work with the neighbor as well, that the one, especially the one that's very upset about it all being ripped out, and get his feedback of what he'd like to see
My
there.
biggest concern there is, I mean, it sounds like there's a really good real estate deal that this is relying on, and how long will this take, I guess?
And I think that
That's-
he knew in his email, he knows that it's not gonna be taken care of overnight, but he wants to know that there's a plan, and that we would consider some of the things that he would like to see take place here. As he said, I understand they are not ready to fill in grade, but
and I've reached out to him in the interim, and we told one of the householders that he's very happy that we're trying to go about this in a logical way.
And the other thing that we have to do is we have to look at the drainage. So whatever we put in here, we have to make sure that it's gonna help dry it up.
Both houses run into that too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this is a wetland in here, and you can see it from the aerial, that there was, here, you can see from the aerial,
We should make sure
That
this
right in the
doesn't
middle.
happen again.
oh, absolutely.
Well, there's two precedents we
We
can
gotta
make sure.
stay.
Well, listen, what happened
For you.
is,
This is
gotta go.
costly.
what
Yeah.
happened is,
Costing the town money.
what happened is, a councilman took it upon themselves to make an order that no one understood, including the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and that's a fact. Including the head of parks. I talked to him, he said, I have no idea why they asked me to do this. So, and we wouldn't have never known about it unless the citizens had come to us with a complaint. But we should not create a precedent where we're doing landscaping for people, or where we're tearing down trees without further input from the community, especially the advisory boards. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, because if you look at it,
I
I
mean,
don't
the
know if you
garbage
saw
out
the
front was
aerial,
one
this
thing.
is,
I mean, there was garbage and stuff in
well,
here.
right,
and that was
originally,
minor stuff though.
And probably fixing right here would have made sense.
and he did do that, this is October, and he did go out and he took the right of way,
So they cleared all this out?
all
Yep.
of that.
Oh my
All the way
goodness.
back. All
Okay,
the way
you can
back.
see it's no different than this here,
At least 20 tree stumps.
and brush,
Wow.
high brush, 6, 8 feet tall, you know, and this fellow said it was a gorgeous, beautiful buffer, natural buffer. And I think originally, this is what he cleared out, and this one was complaining. And that is the right of way.
Right.
To say this is the right of way, all the way back to here, I don't think so, right?
No.
The property town could decide to,
Yeah, the right of way is not really relevant, it's all town property from the
Right.
beginning to end.
Well, it's the thing they keep using up.
Right.
But I think he took this back off because it came right up to sidewalk, so he thought, okay, we'll take this back so that we can clear it, and I think the idea was they would plant grass there.
Yep.
But I don't know when it went sideways, and all that was taken down the middle of June. And then we got, that first time we heard was when we got the bid
Right.
for 6,500, and we all said, we need no bids, and that's when I went out and looked at it, you went out and looked at it, and we're going, what the heck?
Right.
You know, happened here.
Well, we both looked at it the beginning of June, when this was, I think, was this
No,
clear
I
out,
looked at
or-
it on June 28th, because I have the pictures, and I looked at the date,
Yeah.
and I have my email where I went to,
That's what-
that was right
that
after
might
we
be
got
what
the
I'm
bid.
thinking, June
The
28th,
bid
but
came
that
in
was
at like the
early June.
24th, 22nd, 24th, and I went out and looked at it, and then I got the aerial pictures, and I thought, could we, you know,
So I think we're in the same position.
Anyway,
that we
I
wanna
think
refer-
that if we refer it to the parks and the conservation board and sit down with this gentleman and come up with a plan, whether we do a park or not, or whether we just fill this in with bushes and trees.
We
and
should
let them-
prioritize things though, I'd say, whatever it takes to fix that
Move it.
disaster, and then secondarily, make it a two-phase project. Let's get the first piece, let's get it fixed so that it's at least safe, and then the second is,
Well, I went out and walked it,
maybe it's next
since
year's
they
budget.
cleaned it up,
Not so bad.
it's not so bad, it really
No.
isn't.
Okay.
And a lot of this is already regenerating, this is all cattails, that's the wetlands in there. So if we were this year to plant, cause the ideal time to plant trees, I believe, is in the fall.
Mhm.
So if we get a plan to start doing that, and this is our land here, so we could actually, we may not go up to there, but start planting in here. Let this regenerate itself in the middle, you know, and then look and see if we wanna do a pocket park, if they're opposed to it, and they just wanted to let it regrow and have a nice stand of trees, we can do that too.
Okay, next, are we good? next agenda item, anything else?
So, like, what's the resolution then on this subject? Like, Sears was just to, in order for the town on right of way in Park Place?
Refer
We're just gonna refer to Parks and Rec Advisory
Refer
Board
Parks.
to develop,
To develop
to
a plan.
plan ideas, to repair it.
as soon as possible.
Oh, another one here is, for the, sorry, go ahead. No, was that done? Okay. For the sewer, work that's being done. I just wonder, is there any state money out there that we could get? I mean, we talked to the Chris's and
For the sewer
Morelos
repair
and-
work,
Yeah.
I mean,
if the state's forcing us to do something, I would think that there might be an opportunity there.
I think they're, well, I can ask again, we can all ask.
I'll talk to
I think
Morelos.
there's gotta be, there's always funds available. It depends who you talk to at the right time and who's got their pocketbook open. But we haven't found any yet.
So really, what's being proposed here is not gonna increase cost, is what I'm hearing, what I'm reading.
It doesn't go on to the tax, like the tax cap. This
Well,
goes
I
to the
think
sewer
it
water
didn't increase the
department, which-
price either, or the overall cost. They're just moving the shelves around a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think we should.
But in
see
the
what
years
we
to
can do.
come, it's gonna cost us a heck of a lot of money to upgrade the way they're demanding that we upgrade.
It would certainly be nice if the,
So to put it in perspective, the tax cap is 2% for the sewer fund. We're talking about 20% increases to get it to be where we need it to be according to what the DEC is demanding. So you're right, if we
But
can,
our spend rate is pretty constant for the sewer upgrade.
but there's stuff we have to do that we haven't done yet, that's
Yeah,
about
but
to
we're
hit.
not doing it up, we're not doing we're doing this, we're
Mhm.
not doing sudden increases in our spend rate.
No, you're right,
So,
that's right.
so really, it's not affecting our tax cap if we're keeping it at constant spend rate over the,
well,
time
it
period.
doesn't go towards the tax cap, sewer and water.
well, the whole pot, whatever we aren't able to fund goes to the tax cap, goes to the levy, which is, the tax cap is applied to. So anywhere we're short on funds across the entire budget, where we have to raise funds, so the levy is,
Yeah, that's correct,
right,
that's correct.
which means if suddenly we have to spend an extra
Sewer and water
200,000
came out of the
in
sewer
this,
and water,
it doesn't matter
Fee.
which pot, it's really the cumulative amount that we
Okay.
spend.
That's a 2%.
So you could go up 200,000, down 200,000 in a totally opposite fund, as long as you have the funds to pay for it coming out of
The
whatever.
overall
the
tax
overall.
increase.
You won't, there'd be zero increase in that case.
But I think what you're saying about finding additional funds, we can keep looking, and if you have a special relationship with Mr. Morinello, I would talk to him, and we'll talk to anybody we can.
Okay.
I'm no respecter of persons, I'll talk to anybody who can help the town,
Absolutely.
okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, first item for the workshop item is a recreation department split position. I wanna create a full-time position, 17 and a half hours at the Golden Age Center to do pretty much kitchen work, and 17 and a half hours at the Parks and Rec to do all manner of work regarding planning and, schedule. I know this is something we
This
have.
is an existing person?
Nope, a new position. I wanna create a new position, I wanna eliminate one of the part-time positions and turn that part-time position into a full-time position. I think we need to do it because there's a demand. I spent a lot of time over the Golden Age Center recently, and I've gone to a whole mess of Parks and Rec advisory meetings. They don't have the manpower to do what we're asking them to do. And eventually, it's so tight, eventually it's gonna crack. Eventually, they're not gonna have.
I think it is cracking.
The worst thing we need is a day where everyone goes over for lunch and there's no lunch. I mean, eventually, I'm gonna have to ask the town board to go with me over to cook meals, because we need to figure out a way to get that position, we need to figure out, to give them the help they need, they don't have it. And to create one position of one of those departments only doesn't make sense.
Is it a retention problem, or is it a headcount problem?
It's a headcount problem.
Because I'm hearing retention problem.
There's
that's a
both
problem,
problems.
too.
Both
It's
problems.
both.
We don't,
And
they,
we've been nickel diamond
I mean, we
the
added
center for,
someone there a year and a half ago, and we're adding, you're talking about adding even something incremental here, outside of the budget period.
I would strongly suggest you go there and spend a day they don't have enough staff. And we're always on the rec department's case about, well, what about this, what about this? They don't have enough staff.
Well, right now they don't. I mean, Barbara left just, what, a week ago or 2 weeks ago? So they're clearly down, and we didn't plan well at all for the replacement of her, knowing that she was retiring when she was. So, I mean, that's part of the problem.
Barbara who? Barb Wilson?
Barbara Wilson.
Well, we didn't know she was gonna retire. I mean, that's something that came out, that she retired.
We knew it for quite a while, right?
I didn't. You may have
Yeah.
suspected it until I didn't have it.
Talk to,
Well, what we needed, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is something that was requested of me strongly by both Recreation Department and Golden Age Department. It's not a dramatic cost. It's something we need to make sure that those departments
we're
are.
adding head count.
We are, and sometimes you need it to give the services that we want. This is
It's
services
such
that.
a busy senior citizen center. If you go over there and spend time, you cannot believe how busy they are. Barb is here if you want her to explain what her needs are. But there's wonderful programs, ongoing programs, and what they're doing is they're shuffling people around.
But we're also eliminating a part-time position. So it is an increase, but it's not a dramatic increase. So we'll eliminate one of those part-time positions and making them full-time. And they're both run by the same union. So we can easily interchange the person between the two departments and they can help out. It would make sense. It's something it's really not something we want, it's something we need. Something that seems necessary and something that they've asked me for multiple times.
Are you sure we're eliminating a part-time? Is that the plan?
That's the plan. Turn one of those part-times into a full-time. We can talk about it more upstairs if you like. If you want to, we can suspend the rules and talk about that position upstairs.
Yeah, that would, I mean, if we're gonna do it, we'd have to
Okay.
vote on it upstairs.
Yep. Okay, then we'll suspend the rules and talk about it upstairs. Traffic safety, that's Chris's issue. We've already talked about this issue, but
What is this issue?
this is the cutting of your trees around corners, asking people to do that. I've already been asking people to do that. I think this is what he's talking about, for buses to see. Right,
Do you know what it was?
that's what it is. That's what it
We had
is.
talked about it real quick at the last meeting, and I kinda missed the whole, or,
People, because we're in that time of year where
It was on
bushes
the
get
agenda.
huge, they get huge, right? He's just asking people to know, to
the
cut their,
corners.
so school buses can see.
Yeah.
But
I
I
know
mean,
some
I
people
thought we
are
talked
doing
about it
that.
already,
No,
so spread the word.
if he gets here, he might get here soon, so.
Okay,
I think we're gonna put some-
so here's another,
suspend the rules.
so roundabout sign, we've talked about before, we have a final design, it's the one from Proctor.
So we got bids?
It's an artistic design, so it's not something you don't need a bid like that, it's a special service, and we talked to the town board before about what they want, and they seem to be pretty supportive about this guy doing it. Is that my
This
recollection?
is one with the bird at the top.
Yes, it's got an eagle on
Design
it,
you brought
Like,
in.
what's the price?
$7,000. $7,000. And it can come from our contingency fund, it's been,
Not to exceed.
by the way, we received a lot of people saying, where's the sign go? The one we had up there temporary. Now, we all discussed it, that would go somewhere else, the sign will go somewhere else. But it's, to put it in, we can say, we can pass a resolution to say we're gonna spend $7,000, not to exceed 7,000. If it's less, I wanna make sure we have enough to do the installation properly. But if it's less, fine. Go ahead.
I would still, this is another case where, I mean, this is out of the budget cycle, I'd like it in the budget, and we plan for it for next year. I think 6 months isn't gonna make a difference for this particular sign.
We've been talking about it well, that's fine, you can vote against it. We've been talking about it for a while. And I know that we also wanna make, it's
just, I mean, if, at $7,000, I mean, it adds up, and our tax cap is so minimal to begin with. I mean, are we 7, 6, 10, 15, it adds up cumulatively over the year, and suddenly you're talking about $150,000, $200,000, $300,000.
but that's why we create a contingency fund. And we're not even scratching the
The
contingency fund.
contingencies should be for emergencies, this is
No,
not an emergency.
it's not just for emergencies, it's used for all types of contingencies,
That's-
things that come up through
That's
the
how I
course of the
do it.
year.
Okay.
And, well, Mike, there's other monies you've approved that were definitely not in our budget, where you didn't seem to have so much concern about it.
Oh, no, I think I'm very consistent about being concerned about spending money outside of the budgeting process. We need to be really adhering to the tax cap, or we're slowly ramping up.
I think this
and
is also
we're
something
breaching it.
that we can talk to the Economic Development Board about as well.
Yeah,
When we have budgeted items.
well, I think it seems that there's things,
I mean, I support it, but I think it should be done at the end of the year. We budget for it, and we do it next year.
But I think we might be able to find some money in it.
there is money to be available to fund, there's ways to budget for this now. Just simply because it wasn't thought about, or we didn't have the design at the beginning of the year, doesn't mean that we're out of, I mean, we had an email exchange where there's people in this room that were asking for $8,000 expenditure in an email recently. So I think that I mean, this is something we've been talking about in meeting after meeting after meeting for months and months and months and months. It's not like a big surprise to anybody.
Well, I've been saying the same thing.
Okay, you can vote against it. Understood. So
I'm
further delay
voting
on
us against out-of-cycle spending that isn't an emergency or
If we can get
truly
out the
needed.
ED budget, is that okay?
So he doesn't have a say on that. That's the Economic Advisory Board's budget.
I mean, if we.
Yes. Yes, I
If
think we.
there's a place where the
I think
budget
we can.
exists,
So-
then that's golden. We're
So do
great.
you agree with the sign? Do you agree with the sign design? Can we go forward with the sign design? Can we get a resolution on that?
Do you have a picture?
Yes. Show me the picture. Oh, I have it. It was made by Mr. Proctor, who does it for the state parks. He is a local. He is he's done signs for the other groups on the island. He made it. It's his design. I
Is
don't.
that the one you're thinking about putting up on the hill?
Yes.
Not in the roundabout?
Yes.
I guess my biggest concern is, I mean, we didn't go out to bid on it at all.
Who are we gonna bid for a sign that he designed?
Oh, there would be.
It's like it's like
they'd
me.
be lining up
It's
for
like
that.
me going to
We could
Michelangelo.
have a
It's like
sign contest.
It's like me going to Michelangelo and saying, okay, you don't want to vote for the sign, it seems like. It's like me going to Michelangelo and
vote for
saying,
the
hey, I want to
I'm
put the,
for
I
a
want to put the,
sign.
I want to put the
I'm
Mona
not
Lisa out
for-
for bid.
Exclusively,
Do you want an artwork works? I gave you 4 or 5 designs over the course of the year. This is the one that your group told me to go with. This is the guy
my group,
the other members of the board told me to go with this guy. I asked him, who do you want me to
so
use?
we did receive bids.
No, we received ideas and
Design.
concepts throughout the course of the year. We've been talking about this forever. And this is the guy they gave me to contact, and I contacted him, and here we are.
And we didn't like the design of the temporary sign.
See, if I was others that could potentially have that opportunity, that's a big
Like,
opportunity.
do you remember this though, Mike?
It's a big opportunity to.
Mike, we put this out to the community. We put it on the internet. We've gone through this same cycle over and over again. This is like the 3rd or 4th time we've done this. We've talked to people, say, Emily, how many people have we called in the past? We called so many people for design ideas. This is what we came up with. We spent time with the high school, trying to get the high school to do it. They said they can't do it. There's a lot, we've exhausted this. It's time to either move or vote against it.
Okay.
Moving on. Seeker. This is Seeker for the visitor center. So we need a motion to approve the state as lead on the Seeker for this center.
That's typically how it's done in the state projects.
Every state project.
So if we're gonna vote, that should be done upstairs.
For Seeker approval?
Especially for a seeker, for a throughway
We've done
tourist.
secret down here.
We do Seekers down here all the time. There's lots of projects we do Seekers
I
on.
think we've said we don't want to be voting down here, and this does affect the
On
island.
funding.
I'm happy. It's a
But, I mean,
Seeker approval. It's a Seeker approval. We do it all the time down here. So you're gonna make a precedent, we never vote on
There's no
Seeker's
money
approval
involved.
again?
I don't,
Okay.
maybe I
Alright.
missed it, but I don't
It's not a
recall
secret
that.
motion, it's just we,
I think we've been doing.
It's a what?
it.
What's it- what
Well,
is
it's not a secret motion.
yeah, it's just designations.
It is a designation of state.
Designation of
It's a bureaucratic, check the box thing.
Yeah, I don't view it that way,
Why don't you do it that way?
because I'd like to, I'm curious to see what the plans are.
That's what the Seeker
I
does,
wanna
Mike.
know-
Do you know what a Seeker
Let-
does?
Let me give you an example. Are we talking a major truck stop with a lot of trucks
Mike,
idling?
Mike.
We're talking about the
This is
welcome
what,
center.
this is, okay, this
I
is
know,
what,
that's what I'm
here,
worried about.
Mike, this is why you sign off on a seeker, so that we can go through that process. We are, by not being the lead party, that means we don't share the burden of the cost of it. They lead it and they include us in the process.
I'm great with that, I'd like to see some of the plans, because there's plans already.
You've seen all the plans they have so far. That's why they go through the
I
secret.
haven't received them, I haven't seen them.
You've seen the renderings. Now they go through
I
the.
saw a picture
The seeker,
of
That's
blue
always.
color.
the seeker,
No, I would
the
like to see
seeker,
the plan.
the seeker goes through the traffic divide. They go through the traffic analysis. They go through the environmental impact analysis.
I know what a seeker is, Nate.
So why
I
would you-
wanna know, are we talking a trucker stop?
So that's not what
truck
this
stop as well?
resolution's for.
That's
Peter?
in the letter.
The resolution is simply for us to be the lead, to not take the lead agency responsibilities for it. That's all it's about. You read it, right?
I looked at
Okay.
it, yeah.
All right.
I
Then
mean,
you saw.
there's no details there.
It's because it's to say that we're not the lead agency. That's it.
I know,
So what's wrong with that?
I think.
You could be against
I
the
think
project, but you,
As a town, we should at least.
you want to be
know
the lead
what-
agency. You just
we
talk
should
about
know
money.
we should know what's being requested, and before we sign over all responsibilities.
That's not what we're doing, though. The resolution is to approve them to be the lead agency on the seeker. We're not.
So they're the ones that declare the negative deck on that.
They're the ones who go through the process of gathering the information. Do you want our town to bear the burden of cost for that?
If it prevents
Okay. All right.
a
All right.
serious concern,
Okay.
like long, or a big,
Do
huge
you know the
parking lot
com-
full of trucks
do you-
that are idling.
Do you know the
and-
community? Do you know that the state is the county is also part of it? and They've already signed off.
I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, then you should read the
Did I
letter.
care about Grand
You
Island?
should read the letter.
Town-
Do you know how many times every
Grand
single
Island.
project like this, when we're the lead agency, it makes it on our property.
Right.
This is
It's not on our
pro forma.
property.
This is pro forma thing.
That's
I
not
think
the
you're
point.
worried about an issue that's not related to our resolution,
It's related.
and you're
It's-
just being a roadblock for something that doesn't really matter.
Nate,
all right,
think,
fine.
I think our town residents
Understood.
would care if it's a
Oh,
truck
okay.
stop with a
It's
lot of
obviously
idling.
not a truck stop.
It
it's a-
is at every other
And the
tourist center.
the feedback that we
I
will
was just
receive
wondering-
on the seeker,
Pembroke, is that a
the
truck
feedback-
stop or not?
Pembroke is not a tourist center.
Yeah, it is.
It's-
It's
no,
got the
it's-
same thing. It's got
It's a,
Taste
it's
New
a,
York.
no, let me finish. It's a road stop.
It says tourist center when you walk in the
It's
door.
a completely different concept. Wait, why don't you take a road trip with me? We'll videotape, we'll put it online, people
I
will
got
love it.
pictures
Let's
right
go
here.
down to the other tourist
I got
centers.
pictures right here of the
Okay,
one that's
hey,
closest
welcome.
to New York State.
Welcome, how are you?
I
There's
got,
no
okay.
law that says the trucks can't get off the throughway.
so I got pictures right here of the one, the closest
In
one to
Pembroke?
us. Yeah.
That's not the same concept, Mike. It's like comparing a,
It's got the Taste
Peter,
New York
can
stand
I
right
have
up
a
it's
here.
not the same, either you're not
Wait a
able to
minute,
analyze it.
It
guys.
says tourist center.
It's
Alex,
not the
you're
same
repeating
concept,
this
you know
to
that,
say.
right?
I do
Wait a
not know.
minute,
Then you're not paying attention, you agree about it. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the question is lead agency business. So lead agency is required, somebody is required to be lead agency under secret, so you have a coordinated review between the various agencies that are involved in approving the project. I only know what I just read from the letter, so I don't know anything more about it, but if it's permitting on state thruway property, ultimately the state thruway authority is the permitting authority and the appropriate lead agency from the secret perspective. But I don't know.
All,
I
by
still
not,
think we
by
can-
not signing the document, all you're doing is cutting us out
I
of the
think we
process.
can still ask, as part of this process,
Uh-huh.
to receive the information that I'm seeking. I wanna know, like, what is the
We can
design?
ask that anytime you want. It has nothing to do with this
We can tie it to
document.
this. This is
No, it
secret.
doesn't. It doesn't.
I'm number
Mike.
one concern is environmental.
Mike, it doesn't.
case.
It doesn't relate. All we're talking about is who is the lead agency. Now, if you have a different issue you want to bring up with them, do it in the appropriate manner. Otherwise, you're just cutting us out of the
We have
process.
30 days, Nate. What's the
You're
fire
cutting
alarm
us
for?
out of the process.
So just so everyone knows, this letter states we have 30 days. So it's not like we have to vote for it today. I'm not sure why the fire drill.
It's not a fire drill. You've
Well,
had
Nate,
you've had the
you're
letter.
pouring
It's
a lot
on.
of water on
it's
a
on-
fire that doesn't exist.
All right, Mike. Fine. You don't want to vote for it. You just want to go on. Move on. What's the next point? You want to talk about your traffic issue?
No,
Okay.
I just real quick, as I caught the tail end of this, but we've always done seekers as a group, so I'm just wondering, even though it's a state issue, there still could be some environmental issues that affect Grand Island, and we should at least look at it.
We
Chris,
should look at the plan,
Chris,
right?
Chris, this, if you read the letter,
we would still get
this
that.
includes us in the process. It's designating them as lead agency so they can coordinate with the county and with the town.
So why do we need seeker then?
it's for them to run the secret process.
The first
to
step
go,
of the secret
it's
process.
the
Those
first
are
step in the
coordinated
It's
secret
not the
process.
final secret.
No,
Nate,
no, it's just the lead
I'm okay
agency.
then, I thought it was. the
So I'll
final
make a
secret.
resolution to approve the letter. Is there a second?
Is that-
well,
it's
I don't
not
wanna
the
do it
final-
here. I don't wanna
Is
do
there a
it
sec? Is there a
upstairs.
second?
Well, we can do it upstairs if you want to, but it's not the final secret.
It's
I
not
was
the
under
final
impression-
secret. It's
No.
designated him as the lead agency
Just
to
the
get the
lead
thing
agency.
rolling, so we
This
can
is designated.
so we can be part of the process.
So here's one of my other concerns on this one, is similar to the, Parkway right now, where we are totally in the dark and there is no sharing of information whatsoever, none. Total blackout since December fifth.
Mhm.
I want us to be involved in this
Mike.
and know exactly what the plan is before it's sprung on us.
Mike, so this is how you get involved in it. You work with the collaborating agencies so you make sure your voice is heard. You don't put walls up and say people are trying to take advantage of you and put truck stops in when you don't have enough facts. You sign up, you say, how can I be part of this to make our voices heard and represent my community? That's how you do it.
Nate, it's like what is the urgency that's
There's no
driving
urgency,
this?
it's just the fact that it's the lack of
This is
information
not
about
the
what it
seeker.
is.
This just designates them as the lead agency.
We'll move on.
Their
It's
problem.
okay.
Hold on. I see, this is already signed. What are we even talking about?
I haven't issued it to anybody. I signed it in advance. It's not been
It's
issued to
signed
anybody.
a couple days ago.
We signed it to that with thinking that it was pro forma. It hasn't been issued to the state. It's signed on your paper only. It's not left this
This
office.
has a copy.
Has it been sent out, Emily, to anybody?
Yeah, I can go get it right now.
It's sitting on my desk waiting to go out. That's a copy ready to go out. Yeah, I can.
Okay, but I do have a problem. You can't be signing for the town before the town agrees to something.
It hasn't been issued yet. It's on my desk ready to go in the mail. I didn't think it was a big deal. Gee whiz.
Well,
Moving
it's
on.
It says the town of Grand Island has reviewed and closed.
So would you like me to
project
mail it for you? Is it to get it overdone? There's a lot of things I sign on a daily basis. There's a lot of documentation going through. I gave you the final approval before we mailed it and you submitted it. So that's what it's there on your desk for. I gave you a copy of it so you could review before it went out.
I mean, that concerns me a little bit. So,
Okay. Chris, any more comments on this one? Do you want to move on to we talked about the roundabout sign, Chris. We can talk about it upstairs if you want. I got the design from Proctor. We went through the couple cycles of what the design should be. I got the design from Proctor. He said we shouldn't be in the middle. We got to put it in the hill. The DEC knows it's going to get on the hill. I informed them it's going to go on the hill. Excuse me, the DOT. I just want to go forward with the project and get it over with.
Are they gonna cut that?
Well,
Because they don't cut up there, so it's just gonna be.
Well, we're gonna have to cut it. Maybe I'm gonna have to cut it. I mean, someone's gonna have to cut it. But I mean, you're
That
right.
whole hill, they won't cut.
Well, when we put this in, we're gonna have to probably figure out a way to maintain it. So, okay.
so my position on this one is, I think we should be budgeting for it and have it in the budget for next year and put it in next spring. Which I don't think there's a need between now and the end of the year to put this in. I think we can do it within our budget process.
Where's the money coming from now?
contingency, or maybe we're gonna go to EDAP, get the money from EDAP.
If it's within a budget that already exists, that's a different
It's in a
story.
budget that already exists. We can get it from EDAP. EDAP has their budget.
I think we need.
If we don't wanna,
details.
if I wanna get approval on the sign design before I go forward any further.
If it's in
There's-
EDAB already, it doesn't require our approval.
It does, I wanna make sure you sign off on me before I put a sign up there and you telling
The
me that we take.
design, we definitely want.
Yeah, I want the sign off in the final design. The guys put a lot of time into it. We've talked about 4 or 5 different designs at this point. Are we okay with it? Can we move forward? And I'll find the budget later if we
Picture of
have
the
to.
design, 'cause I don't know.
You've seen the design, right?
I saw one a while ago. and it's in the-
Same one.
Okay.
It's the same guy who makes it for the state parks. So I'll take the resolution to approve the design. Is there a second?
Approve the design, second.
Discussion.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're not approving the paying
No,
for it.
I'll find a different budget to get it, an existing budget to get the money out of. I just wanna get this thing moving forward a little bit, so we can get it done.
I have a concern that it didn't go out to bid, there was no, I don't think that there's been an opportunity for other people to have a shot at that. I know there's a number of sign makers, including on the island,
I've sent emails to every sign maker on the island.
I haven't seen it, then you must have quotes.
There's not quotes, there's just designs. some people wanna do electric sign, there's all kinds of
Also-
different ideas. We talked about this before, Mike, we've had this meeting
I
before.
haven't seen any other designs
Okay, well, great.
from other than this person.
You don't see the one that was existing there from ACI, a sign maker on the island that we said is no good? The one that was there, the temporary sign? That was the other design.
That wasn't even a sign, that was a cutout of some kind.
No, they were gonna make, we talked about this before, Mike.
That was
They were
their
gonna, they were gonna
design.
make a three-dimensional version of that. It's the same one they did for the high school?
Yeah.
Is the one at the high school terrible? Okay. Chris, are you gonna vote?
Why with the design,
Okay, we'll get the money from somewhere
money,
else.
I'd like to find out where the money's coming from.
well,
And also, how
so-
you gonna light it?
So,
That's what we're gonna work on. We think we have a way to light it. I don't wanna bring it up until I work on the details. We have an option, but I just wanted to prove the design to go forward further. So we can
without
get this.
following our normal purchasing process,
How much is it? It's under five.
7,000.
So
Not
no,
to
it's
exceed.
under 5,000 for the sign. I think it's gonna be about 7,000 to put the whole thing in. For the sign is well under 7,000.
That's under the procurement.
Yes, it's under the procurement.
The labor, the two.
It's under the public bidding. But it's professional, so if it involves extensive artistic,
Yes,
design, it can fall under professional.
we don't even have to bid it. It's a professional thing. We can approve the design right now as a town.
I'm okay with the design, let's
So-
figure out if there's money in the budget this
So-
year.
Yeah.
We'll go with roll call.
Wait, I need to know exactly what you're.
We're approving the design of the
But not
place,
the budget.
not the cost
Design
yet.
of a
And state
Yes.
that.
town sign
Near the, yes,
near the.
roundabout, right.
What's that?
So it'd be a motion to approve the proposed design of the sign to be installed in the roundabout.
No, not
no,
On the hill,
Well,
Near
we'll
the-
take it
it's
next
like gonna
time.
be like the
Yeah.
Near
approval.
the
Location
roundabout.
next to the round.
Near the roundabout,
The approval is the proposed design,
the design of the sign.
Okay,
but not the purchase of it.
not the purchase of it,
Purchase
yeah,
of it.
right. Roll call,
I,
aye.
Nay.
So, wanna talk about the traffic safety issue, Chris?
yeah, the, Traffic Safety Advisory Board took a tour around the island, led by Jack Burns, who's the former school superintendent, bus superintendent. And there's there's quite a few, he pointed out about 8 of them, corners that are safety issues with bus drivers not being able to see. They have to actually pull out into the intersection, and these, in our code, I gave you the code last week, it says that they have to cut back a certain amount of feet from the road. So rather than just have code enforcement send letters out to these people, I thought we should talk about it and figure out a way to identify, well, I can give you at least 10 corners that need to be addressed, but there's more than that. And this is really a neighbor issue.
Tricia, do you think if we do like a article in the newspaper,
I don't think that's gonna-
If I think, how about we do this? How about if you give me the list, I'll go visit the neighbors.
Okay.
And I'll go knock the door and say, hey, listen, can you help me out here?
Yeah, Jack took us to 10.
Okay,
There's probably a lot more than that, but these 10 are pretty bad.
we'll go
One
inch
of them's
by
right,
inch.
right on Ransom Road and Tracy Lane, right where the kids walk, you can't even, the bushes are there, you can't even
Okay,
see around there. And he had some, I never really realized it, if you're sitting in a car, you wouldn't see it. If you're up in a bus, we were up in a bus, there's blind spots all over the place. So if you're sitting in a car and you can edge up into that corner, it's easy in a car, but when you're in a school bus, you have to get the whole front end out there before you can see it, so.
it's tough.
Yeah.
So I think it's a safety issue.
There's a code section.
So we're
Yeah.
asking them to trim the trees.
Or they're bushes. A lot of it's hedges.
This is,
Yeah, the code section, 407.
30 feet
From the-
sight lines from the intersection. No fence, wall, a hedge, or dense, foil.
I'll go knock the door and give them a letter.
Right.
Should be erected, so if
10
they,
doors.
So I have 3 to 10.
It's easy for me.
So that would be, yeah, it's in the right of way. then,
Well, if it's in the right of way, usually what happens, the highway superintendent will remove it. We've had that happen as well. The highway superintendent has, authority in the highway law to remove, trees, rocks, whatever it may be, that are blocking town rights of way. So we've done that in some years as well. The highway superintendent's written letters and, can require removal, and if people don't do it, you can actually go out and do it. Sometimes the highway superintendent's even used crews to maintain areas around corners, so that, just in the interest of public safety.
And even further, there's some streets that have branches hanging in the roads, and if kids stick their hands out,
Oh,
they can hit every tree going along the way.
they'd probably do it.
They probably do it, and that, it's a big issue though, because there's a couple streets, the whole streets are like that, so that's not a little issue.
Can I ask a question? While you were doing the roundabout thing with, Jack, in front of KOA, there is two, guardrails. And people, and there's a bus stop there, and people sit on there, and it's so close to the road, I get I get so
They're looking into
nervous.
that. I called them about 3 weeks ago, but, NFTA, and they're
Yeah.
sending somebody out there to see if they can either move it back or move it down and then put a shelter up there.
Because right in front of KOA, when I went home the other night, there was a whole family of children sitting on the guardrail, and it's not, it's, you know, it wouldn't take much.
They're aware of it, so
Okay.
he was supposed to be meeting somebody from the DOT there, the NFT and the DOT.
Good.
So they're aware of it, and hopefully have something sooner.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, and I will also, Chris, give me the list, and I'll go visit them. That will at least help somewhat, maybe some of the people cut.
You had your-
Well, then you still gotta address the other ones though, so I don't know if you put a letter in saying
I'll put a letter in dispatch to you saying, please cut,
if you.
buses can't see. And we'll
So we
remind
send
them.
a letter out to those people, just saying, give them the code and say, we really need for you to, for safety issues?
Probably be easier if you talk to them, but if they don't
Then a letter.
comply, then a letter
Yeah.
with the code.
There's separate provisions from our code and the highway law that give the highway superintendent the ability to do that as well, and use town crews as necessary. In other words, if somebody just doesn't do it, you can make a codes issue and put it upstairs, but just say, well, we'll pay a penalty. If there's really a safety issue, we go ahead
I
and
don't think we
deal
wanna
with it.
go to the penalties or anything, I think we just educate
No,
them.
hopefully people just comply, but if they
Yeah,
don't, there is a
I
burden
agree.
to deal with it.
Unless they can't deal with it for some reason.
If we have an older couple that can't get out there and do it, then we need to look at it and see what we can do to help them out.
People
I'll
refer
have Jack
those-
get you over his
people
list.
refer those to highway.
Okay. So I'm gonna skip to engineering for 1 second. I'm gonna do code enforcement first. I'd like to make a motion, or I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Ron Milks to be the head of the code enforcement department on a 120-day temporary basis, test basis.
I think we should do it upstairs, that's the only thing, but I support the idea.
Okay, so
Why,
should we?
why temporary, just out of curiosity?
Well,
It's just usually how it's done, and we were advised by our attorney that's the way we should do it to start with.
It's just subject to agreement, because he's moving from CEOB to CEOA, so he's subject to an agreement with CSEA. For whatever reason, it doesn't work out.
So what you want to do it upstairs, we can do it upstairs. So I'm going to suspend the rules upstairs to do the engineering discussion, to talk about the engineering transition, the code enforcement position, the lead secret situation, and the recreation deputy split position.
And we didn't discuss that with Chris yet.
So Chris, the situation is this, I think you know about it kind of, but they're understaffed at the rec department and the Golden Age. They don't have people, especially they don't have people to work the kitchen. They're not getting meals out. It's getting to be a crisis situation. They've been asking us to do this, and I'm gonna propose that we do it. We take one of the part-time positions in the rec department, turn it into a full-time position, 17.5 hours in the Golden Age Center, working in the kitchen and other issues, 17.5 hours with the rec. So we're upgrading one position and eliminating a part-time position and upgrading it to a
Why
full-time
wouldn't we
position.
just hire 2 part-time people then?
Because you wanna save on the health benefits? Because
I mean, why?
Because it's hard to keep someone good that can do both, and there's one union there, they can transfer easily between the 2 different departments, and it's something that was asked to us by the Golden Age and also by,
No, but we were supposed to sit down with the Golden Age Department and go through that whole staff.
we can do that, but I'm telling you,
She's here if you have any questions.
Yeah.
The-
Can I speak?
Yeah,
Okay, the problem is that we can't get people for the rate of pay that the board has designated for them to be paid. We've had a lot of people retire, a lot of people who left. We did try to prepare for the person who was retiring, but they walked out because it wasn't enough money. So the people that were retiring were $13 an hour. I'm trying to bring somebody in at $9.70, and they're telling me I don't want it.
But she gave a notice a couple months in
She gave a
advance,
couple
didn't she?
months, but I did
Couple
try,
months.
I had a lot of people
She
go
didn't just
through.
walk out,
Yeah, I had
That's
like 10,
unfair.
12 people walk in and walk out.
yeah,
So it
but
is
she
like,
wasn't one of them.
well, I even asked her if she would come back because I was getting so desperate. We just recently had 3 people come through and apply, and they want to know what the salary is going to be for them per hour. The one gentleman we have left has 35 years of restaurant, experience. He has his own products. He does an infomercial. I mean, he's knowledgeable.
So we're down staff right now, but part of that is because we haven't replaced missing headcount. So we're definitely down staff. We need to replace the missing heads. I think separately we need to do an assessment whether, I mean, if you look at it, we've actually added headcount even in the last 2 years.
We've added up, but they left.
Well,
We did add, but they all
There's,
have
it's
left.
still an existing budgeted headcount
We're down from
that
4
increased.
to 1. We had 4 people in the kitchen, now we have 1.
And I'm talking about what we're budgeted for. That's not what we're asking for
Well,
here.
you're looking at my
We're
budget,
asking to increase.
the
It's in
people
her
are
budget.
leaving that were making higher amounts, they left. So we're gonna have money in the budget left over
I
for,
understand.
So what we're doing is, we're filling that in with someone permanently, we're raising the pay for new people, and we're filling it with someone permanently, to hopefully that we stabilize
But
this.
how is a part-time person in the kitchen gonna help?
It will, because we'll have more people to cook.
It's only part-time.
Yeah, but she'll hire
Why
another
would you
person.
hire 2 part-time people in there?
we can't get the dedication from,
And
part-time
listen,
people.
you said go over there, I've been over there a lot lately.
Well,
I know you too, I'm not trying
familiar
to,
with that. I
you know the situation there.
I do.
It's rough, and what we're gonna have is a crisis where the food doesn't get out, and there's gonna be pitchforks
So
in
what
town
if
hall.
we did part-time and had a monthly pay then?
I don't think it's gonna cover the problem. I think we keep putting
I think-
Band-Aids on an issue
That's
that
what I
needs
just heard,
surgery.
is the pay.
That's part of the
Pay
issue.
and
Well, we are bumping, it does bump the pay up. Yes, we are bumping the pay up.
right.
What's your,
May-
wanna talk on it or no?
To the point of the pay and retention. If you get a full-time person on, they're a full-time person. Yes, they are getting the benefits, but now you have somebody who's consistent, who was there, who was dedicated, and you're filling a void in 2 departments with 1 person. You're getting somebody who's full-time that you're able to combine with the departments. They're gonna be able to do the work in the kitchen, and they're gonna be there full-time as a dedicated person. They're also gonna be able to fill the void on the recreation department side, again, as a full-time dedicated person. That's where we're going with this
And I,
combined position.
yeah, I can't provide meals to the seniors, and many of them, that's their only meal for the day with 1 staff. I can't. I have to have the ability to have at least 2 people on so we can assure those people that we're
And
gonna
I
have
think,
meals.
Barb, it's fair to say that the demand and the use is
It's
also
going up.
increased dramatically. There's more people there than ever before, and more people want meals than ever before.
Actually, it's gone down just recently a little bit, right?
It's gone down recently only because of the fact that we didn't have a cook on staff.
Yeah, there's people
or even
leaving the
part-time
building.
people.
There's people leaving the building because there's not enough food, and the food quality is not as good as it used to
But-
be.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But we're understaffed. I do think that we didn't do well with managing the known person that was gonna leave.
Okay,
So I
well,
think that's
let's,
one of the challenges, is I think we gotta, we as a whole, because it's not just there, it's engineering, it's, code enforcement. I think we gotta plan better when we know someone's leaving.
well, when people leave.
So we're shorthanded, but that's short term. Once we fill that position, I'd like to better understand exactly what the headcount requirements are.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make a motion for it tonight, you guys can vote against it, I think it's something we need to fix fast. This is something where I think we do have to have our hair on fire a little bit, because we don't get because she just quit, we're gonna give her a certificate tonight. Now, if you had some knowledge about the exact date when she was leaving, I did not have that knowledge, but she's gonna leave tonight, we're gonna give her a certificate. But I think we've been putting this decision off for a while, and it's time, I think we need to fill it. Go ahead, what?
If I can speak on the urgency of getting somebody in there to help improve that. The Grand Island Golden Age Center is one and only, if not the only center left in Western New York that provides home-cooked meals. Some of the benefits to that is someone can call a day ahead, sometimes that morning of, to reserve a meal. If we lose that and it goes to a county system, which a lot of them have gone to, you have to make your reservation for a meal at least a week in advance. The cost is more, the meals are coming in a box.
And
There
plus,
is the service to the seniors of Grand Island diminished.
That kitchen ran like clockwork for years, all of a sudden
With
it
the
stopped,
proper
it
staffing.
stopped. Well, then I think it's finding the right staff and maybe bumping the pay up a
I
little
think
bit.
bumping
we're
the
But it's
pay.
not,
bumping-
it's
That-
not.
that's
we're
what we're
bumping the
trying
pay
to
tonight.
do.
So that doesn't mean that it has
Benefited
to be a
person.
full-time person, it
Right.
could be two part-time people.
I think it's a different, I think I'm following the recommendations of the Golden Age Center, what they've asked me to do, and I'm following the recommendations of the rec department, what they've asked me to do. I have a different view of it. I think we're nickel and diming them a little bit. I think this is eliminating a part-time position and creating a full-time position that will help strengthen the whole unit. And I also,
Not
and
kids, we're
speaking about
understaffed.
planning in advance, we're about to lose a very, very,
Because
speaking about planning in
there's a
advance,
Headcount that's in the budget.
speaking about planning in advance, we're about to lose somebody who's very, very, very important over there. She's gonna have a baby. And it's gonna get a lot worse any day now if she has that baby, and if we don't have someone over there to help fill it in, then we're in trouble. Somebody make a motion today.
And also, I just wanna, we have a motion, right? Because I have been over there a lot myself and talked to everybody, Jen and Barb and, some of the people that are there. And where I see the problem with having just only part-timers is scheduling. And not only that, is you have people, and from a couple of people that I've talked to, part of the problem with retaining staff is many of them don't want a part-time job, they want a full-time job. And to keep somebody on consistently and have that loyalty to coming back and forth, especially when we're not paying that high a wage for it. You know, a lot of these people, they need full-time jobs that can't exist on part-time, especially when it's only, $9-10 an hour.
I mean, I'm not sure, Joe, what you need, why you would need another full-time, part-time. What if we have a part-time, full-time in the kitchen and they're around the Golden Age Center, if they're down 4 people, that sounds like the more pressing need.
Because
We're
you're
down
right.
4 people, but we just need to hire those people.
No, it's not true. Because what she's saying to you over and over again, and what they're telling you,
I know.
is it's not just about filling, the structure that you've worked before isn't working anymore. We need to have someone who's dedicated. We have staff that is dedicated, who wants to commit to this, but they can't do it on a part-time
I think
basis.
we're raising the rate though, which will help with retention.
60 cents an hour is not gonna make that. It's gonna make subtle difference, but it's not gonna make,
12% increase.
it's not gonna
is
make
more
that-
than 60 cents. It's more than $1.
so a dollar an hour is not gonna make that much difference. It's gonna help us, it's gonna help.
I do think that there's a number of individuals on this island that are retired, that want a part-time job that we could probably
Okay.
hire.
Some of the work
Barb,
can't be
Barb,
done
please
by
speak to
the-
that, please.
yes, I would love to.
There's a lot of
They
lifting.
really don't want a part-time job. And the people that we have hired that were really great, they left for full-time positions because they couldn't make it on the part-time salary. So we would have that ability to retain them longer if we did offer them a full-time position by splitting them.
So you're saying, we've done it for years successfully.
Times have changed, people have changed. We're not getting the people that
And also,
are
the
dedicated.
flex position allows, when it is downtime at the Golden Age Center, for that person to assist with what's happening in rec. That was the idea.
So how you gonna get a cook to do rec?
We got some people who will do it, like he said, there are people that will
So
do
those
it.
are trained people that are rec
I
attendants,
don't
but they
see
can
it.
cook.
Okay, you guys, listen, I
No,
can't
listen, I'm
convince you.
not against it, I just wanna make sure we're
I
doing the
know.
right thing and hiring the right people, so it's not a revolving door over there. It
So-
never was like that until recently.
So-
So something's going on there. It was never like that until the last year and a half, 2
Well,
years.
listen, I hear what you're saying. Let me talk to you for a second about it. Hear me out. I'm trying to, I hear you're trying to do the right thing. They're having trouble because we keep doing the same little mini fixes and getting a new hire and say this person's good. It isn't working for whatever, I don't know the reason why it's not working. But I've spoken extensively to Barb, to Jen, and to the whole gang over there, and this is what they're asking us to do. And I'm relying on their
You're gonna
judgment.
find a rec attendant to cook.
Yes, yes. We think we have candidates that will do it.
In fact, all of our cooks and our recreation
So
attendants.
when it's heavy rec season and they're out doing rec stuff for the town, there won't be a cook.
No, they're gonna have to be required to be in that kitchen. That's gonna be the thing they do.
So how are they gonna do both?
With that's what the flexibility is involved for it. So you think
Yeah,
they
but
can do
we're
that?
adding
Cooking is a
headcount during
permanent,
off rec
full-time
season.
deal, I mean, between
Okay.
10
So do you
and-
think we should hire a full-time?
What do you think about that?
Cook?
The list, has that gone to the entire board?
The list of people you want? No, because I
No,
want
not
to.
the list of people who want, the splitting of the duties.
No, it is
the
not.
board's-
No,
okay.
the list you gave. Explain it to these guys real
Okay.
quick.
So, again, we have a need for both departments. There's been that constant turnover. This is one way to fill the need in both positions. So when we're looking at it, right now, we have the two part-time people in the recreation department. One is focused on youth programming, one is focused on adult programming, which is mainly in the evenings. And there's seasons for that. And then there's seasons where the bulk of their work is done during the day. With that, the person who is hired, if this is approved and they're hired into that full-time position, the main hours for that cook position would be a Monday through Friday, 9 to noon, 8:30 to 12:30, somewhere in there, a 3 to 4 hour shift in there during the day. The rest of their time would be able to be spent at night in the adult league position doing that. When the adult leagues are not running, or even when they're up and running and they don't have to be there every night, there is plenty of work for that person to do during the day that is planning for new programs, planning for the programs that are coming up. So right now, we're in the, finishing the softball season. We're already getting our requests into the school, we're already planning for the teams coming in. So during that time, they would be during the day, like an 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. That is, this position would be designed to be flexible to fulfill the need in two departments with one person. And
So my two thoughts is, just in terms of benefits, I'm not convinced we need a fully benefited person. I'm really concerned about the impact on the budget is for that, and that really should be done at budget time.
can you explain to us why, based on what you know about the departments, why we don't need somebody to fill that position?
We did
I
have,
understand from the financial side, how you're looking at it, but based on what you know about our departments, can you tell me
Based
why
on-
why we don't need somebody to fill those positions?
we have budgeted openings that we need to fill. I think we need to get better at planning and managing the headcount there, just in terms of when we know someone's leaving, we need to make sure that we're planning in advance to replace that person.
There's enough
And
in
that's
the
been a
budget
problem
actually
throughout
to
our whole
hire.
entire-
Yeah, but
So
there's
Barb
been this
has
budget
told
to hire
you,
this
Barb has told you that
full-time
she's gonna
person.
have budget left over for this. She's saying it, how budget works isn't like you set it and you say this is the only way we go for it. You look for different places where you can make sure that you can fill gaps. She's saying there's budget
But
left
I
over
would
for it.
fill the holes that already exist.
What are you gonna do in 2 months when they don't have lunch ready?
I think in we have to fill the holes that exist right now,
Well,
right?
this
This
is
is the
two
hole.
holes we need
This
to
is 2
fix.
holes filling.
We need to fill these 2 holes.
I agree with smart spending and not wasting taxpayer money, but
So two
this
holes
thing might
are
blow up
part-time.
before then.
But we've tried that for the last year and a half. It's not filling it.
Not at a higher rate though.
Oh, it's not gonna make a difference. We have a gushing water here and we're trying to put a little stone in it. We get to put a big cash on it. I mean, the problem is, keeps going, and, Chris, trust me.
It didn't work before. That's
For
the whole thing.
decades it's worked, but now suddenly we have something that somehow, something culturally
Okay.
changed
We
on
got
that
a
one.
whole lot more going on.
I just
over
think
there than
that
did
we need
decade
to
ago.
maybe improve things. a
Improve
little bit.
what? Explain it.
I
In
think we
detail,
need to-
articulate.
I think we need to just plan a little bit better, just like for code
We
enforcement and other
have the
positions.
issue
Why
right
would
here,
you
listen,
hire two
will
different
you-
people then when you
but
have one person
Mike,
that
Mike,
can fill
Mike,
both
you
those
have
needs
a
right now?
glaring issue where you have two department heads telling you we need to fill something, and your grandstanding wants some nonsense.
We think there's a great need in that
Yes.
department right now.
Yes, I think there's a great need in both departments, and this position will
You
fill,
need somebody
because we don't wanna have, we
to
don't
run the
even,
programs,
it helps,
right?
it helps fill two needs by, this is a smart way to do it. This is a smart way to do it.
With a benefited
Okay,
person.
okay, I understand, I think we talked it out, we have our position set, right? Something about, that has always been the way it worked, and we think we can raise $1, it'll fix the problem, so, I don't agree. What?
Okay, I
Barbara,
just
go
want to mention that the work ethics of the people today and the people that I hired years ago are totally different. Know that. And you could say, but I've lived it. I brought people in, trained them, and they just, no, we don't like this, we're leaving, there's a better job. Okay, and the other part is, I talked to Erie County Dining Services a few years ago. They said, okay, we could bring your meals into you, but you need to hire 2 full-time people for that program.
Oh, I have zero desire for that. That'll go,
Yeah,
that'll
so,
be the last thing we do.
okay, so if we brought in 2 full-time people to handle that program, which is going to like turn people away from the senior
Well,
center, when
So
they
that's
really
what
Not
we're
need
even
doing.
a
it.
consideration, I haven't even heard that
What are-
being
I mean,
considered.
But
is
if I have to close that program because I don't have anybody to do the work,
I'm gonna put it,
It
okay,
sounds like we need to get a more serious effort on hiring and screening the people coming in.
Mike,
But we
Mike,
have.
Mike, I'm telling you, what we needed is we needed to have a full understanding of this issue. I've tried to present it to you today, I'm gonna move for a vote upstairs. This is something that makes sense. It makes sense. And we've talked to the experts, we've talked to the people who deal with it every day, it makes sense. I'm gonna pull for a vote upstairs. And I don't think there's anything else to talk about this for the time being.
Sure.
Chris?
So you only need 1 part-time person.
I need.
You need 1
I
part-time
need a
person.
stability. I need.
I know, but
someone-
I'm asking, you only need 1 part-time person.
At this point, I probably need 4.
Okay, so then why are we splitting duties?
Well,
Because
actually,
we don't get the retention. I'm asking to
Okay,
get.
why are we splitting
how
duties
many
if you need
openings do you
4?
have?
Because-
Because if I can get one position that I can guarantee,
But that's not
The
gonna fix
full-time
your problem.
position.
Your problem's a more important problem right now, because you gotta feed these seniors and you gotta be there. So if you need 4 and you're only getting a
Okay.
half,
yeah, but
that
if I,
doesn't make sense to
but then
me.
I still have the retention. I can hire 4 people, but they're gonna walk out the door.
So
Yeah,
you're
they're
saying
gonna
But
start
there's
just
with
to be
like
clear,
one
there's 4
full-time
openings
person.
right now that aren't
Right
filled.
now,
How
you know
many?
what, I'm just going through what we used to have.
Well,
We
no,
used to
no,
have a
no.
lot of part-time people.
Right
Now
now.
I have 2 part-time people.
Budgeted wise, how many openings do you have?
I probably 3.
So there's 3 openings right now.
Full
Yeah.
time.
So
As of September, because the young woman that we have who goes to high school will be going back to school.
Okay, so we need to,
There's
there's
3
3
part-time.
part-time
the-
positions that
okay.
need to be filled.
Right.
Mike,
but I
we told
would like
you
retention,
multiple
and
times,
we
it's
need 'em for
not
half a day.
working. So your
So
question
if
is,
I
why do we
could
need to go with the
split
vote?
the person with
Why do we
them,
need to send them over to the Parks and Rec?
Nate, sir.
She
Yeah.
needs
Yeah.
4. Yeah,
You
look,
Sorry, go ahead
understand?
and say that one more time.
Okay, I need them for half a day, and if I can't get the retention because it's only a part-time position, they're going to leave. But if I can split an employee
Because
with
he
the
needs
recreation department, we're guaranteed that they're going to continue.
and
to
then
work.
then you're gonna need 3 more people.
No,
No,
no.
you know, at that point, we can see how well they do.
Something. I am gonna walk out of this room. The people who have been hired and work here on a regular basis are asking for something they really need.
We're trying to understand that.
Yes, but
And
you're
I don't
not
understand-
listening
I
to
am
what
listening.
they're
No,
saying.
but everybody else understands what
I'm
I'm saying.
listening.
Why
Yes, I
why
am.
don't you
Okay.
understand it?
Okay, let's cancel the meeting, we'll end the meeting. I'll move for a resolution to stop the meeting at 6:50, or 7:50.
I do think,
No, we're gonna do it upstairs. I think he knows already, we talked about it. All right, all in favor?
Motion to whatever.
Adjourn the meeting, all in favor? Yeah. Aye.
Chris, did we want to close it or?